What's up, everyone? I'm Jumpy, he's Jay, and we're back post-PAX. It's been a few weeks since our last episode, and there's quite a bit to talk about. But before we jump into the gaming-related news, thought we'd give you a quick little recap of our weekend at PAX East. Man, it was a good time. It was fucking cold though. Fuck how cold Boston gets.
And you missed the worst of it too, by the way.
Yeah, I'm actually really happy that I left on Monday, because how bad was it up there?
Dude, we had like insane snowstorm followed by rain, followed by really cold weather. So it was like a winter wonderland this morning when I woke up.
How many inches y'all get?
How many inches? It's tough to tell because kind of like flooded right after, but it was kind of like a foot, maybe a little bit under a foot.
A foot?
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like a lot for you guys, though.
It's not a lot, but once you combine that with warming temperatures and then freezing over, it's kind of hard to move wet snow, especially a foot of it.
All right, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Over here, it just got cold when I got back. Light snow. Everybody panicked. It was like all of 1 inch. Schools were closed. Families were startled. Supermarkets were ransacked.
Dude, I was so pissed. I mean, like, it makes sense. It makes sense that everywhere was closed except where I work. Okay, like even the supermarket was closed. I mean, the supermarket has food and they're closed. We have nothing. We don't have shovels for you. We don't have salt. We don't have food. We don't have water.
But
what the hell are we doing?
What do you
here?
offer? What do you offer? The greatest. The great
nothing. Nothing, Jump. Nothing.
You almost called me my government name.
It's been a long weekend, all right?
No, but you offer the greatest.
I got nothing for you.
All right, well.
I probably make some good microwave popcorn while I'm there or something.
No, what does your job sell?
Cabinets.
All right, there you go. Great cabinets for I got nothing.
Right.
So yeah,
right.
PAX 2017 live from cold ass Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
It was an interesting couple of days. Honestly, we didn't spend as much time at PAX as we thought we would. It was an interesting experience. My first PAX, Jay's first PAX as well. And overall, I was a little, I guess, underwhelmed.
Sure.
By what I saw. I mean, don't get me wrong. There was definitely some great stuff there. I mean, we really enjoyed day one. We were lucky enough to loiter in the right area and get really good seats to the Mass Effect Andromeda panel. We got a little bit of a sneak preview into one of the loyalty side missions, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. But
and shout out to the person who told us that parking at the place was $17.
Oh yeah, big shout out to them.
Yo, because that train ride and all that to that place would have been much colder the next 2 days, man.
Live from cold ass Boston, it's PAX East 2017. I was not ready for the cold.
No.
Not ready for the cold whatsoever. No, fuck the cold.
But PAX was good. What was interesting about PAX was that, I mean, like all 3 days, things were almost the same, but slightly different every time you walked in. Like they were doing things every single day, like changing up sections and putting in new sections of new things that they were doing. Unfortunately, like a lot of the things that were happening did not interest me that much.
Well, so I guess to kind of set the scene for everyone, you had 4 levels? 3 levels.
Well, yep, 3, and the 4th was the hall thing. Yeah,
okay, yeah. So you had about 4 levels. There was the main expo floor. So when you kind of come in through, at least through the entrance we came in from, you would take the escalators down and you would overlook the main expo area. Xbox, Sony, Blizzard. I mean, your big publishers and really gaming related companies all really had their large sections kind of within the front, and then as you moved your way through the back, you would see some vendors, and then ultimately got to the tabletop section in the back. I mean, just kind of as a general whole. I mean, there was obviously more stuff to do as you kind of walked around, but as a whole, that's kind of how it was laid out.
Sure. And I'll tell you, when we first saw it, we were really surprised. Like, it looked massive, just super open. People were everywhere. It was like, wow, like this is exciting, you know?
But it didn't. I don't know. At a certain point, it just didn't feel big anymore. It was cool. It was cool going down the escalator and seeing all those people. But then, as we started walking around, I realized there was just a lot of really long lines. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's cool. So I guess one big lesson learned from my end is get there early. If there is something you really want to do, you gotta get there early. Be the front of the line, because once they start capping these lines, it starts to become very difficult to try and participate in whatever you're trying to participate in if you have a big group of people. So it
Yeah.
was, Jay and myself. It was, it was just two of us, but when we met up with a few buddies of Jay and tried to jump into the Mass Effect Andromeda line, it was, honestly, it just became a bit of a shit show, just
Yeah.
because they were only letting like one or two people in at a time, and then it was a 2.5 hour wait at the end of the line to actually play the multiplayer, and at that point, it's like, am I gonna waste 2.5 hours away from my friends just to play the game that's going to come out in a week? No. So
Nah.
in the future, if there is a particular game you want to try out, if there's anything on the show floor that you think is important, get there early, queue up in the morning, run, trample people, push women and children out of the way, and make sure you get there first. Because if not, I mean, you're really kind of sacrificing a lot of time. Like, it really comes down to proper planning and making sure that you know exactly what you want to hit. With that said, if you're more interested in like indie developers and some of the smaller games, those I think were actually pretty achievable if you wanted to just kind of pop in and learn a little bit more. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan of indie games. Not that they're not good games. It's just I'm a whore for AAA games, and that's usually where I focus most of my attention, since I don't have as much time to game as I used to.
Well, I get what you're saying, because I feel exactly the same way. But on the same note, a lot of people go to indie games because they also don't have time to play like a AAA game, and one of these is just like one of those time killers. You know what I mean? So you just jump into something, play for a little while, and keep it moving. And
Sure.
that's mostly what I saw on the showroom floor, were games like that you can pick up, play for a little while. It's just like super action packed, and then that's it.
Sure.
And that works too. I played a few. I wasn't impressed with anything. I did have a lot of fun with one that you didn't see. It was called Ape Out. And
Okay.
basically, it's just an overtop view of like a blue screen, or was it orange? It was one color or the other. And it was blue, because as you bashed people who were trying to shoot your ape, they splattered orange all over the walls and everywhere. And it was
Okay.
great because you just had to keep this guy alive, this ape alive, and not shot, and use like doors and big ass soldiers to like protect yourself from being shot. And that was just fun. You ran
Okay.
through mazes like Pac-Man kind of mazes, except you just had to get to the right and keep going right and not die. And that was it. That was like fun. I'm like, damn, if this is $5, I'll definitely buy it, because it is just fun.
Sure. Sure. So yeah, so for us, day one was really focused on Mass Effect.
And we
We
didn't plan for that either.
we
But
didn't
when
plan.
we saw
Honestly,
it, we were
we
like,
didn't plan at all for this. We should have done a better job. Honestly, I think ultimately it came down to the fact that we didn't have press badges and we're not Twitch partners, and we have no meet and greets and all that stuff. So we kind of went as fans more so than the podcast itself, right?
yeah. And,
Um,
and this is one thing I'll tell you about it, is that it was kind of frustrating, seeing as it was us and a few friends of ours, and you came from out of state. You create a group of people who go to this place to enjoy the same things, and when all this starts happening with capping lines, it's like those people who came in groups are kind of like pushed away from any of the really fun stuff, you know? I'm not completely against the system. I just wish there was a better way. I just don't know what it was.
You
Because
can't you
Comic
can't
Con, you had a lot of chaos, but
yeah.
we did what we wanted to do. You know, everything that we wanted, we did it. And I don't know.
Yeah, it's tough to compare the two just because they're very different in the way that they operate, right?
Right.
PAX, obviously, there's a big focus on games, right? And playing games and trying out new experiences. Whereas Comic Con, a big focus, at least of what we did, is um, meeting celebrities or people who were interested in meeting, purchasing, comics and looking at, different art. Like it's a little different. I think from a logistics standpoint, you can't win everything. You can't win, you can't please everyone.
Sure.
You cap lines, you completely push out groups unless they got there early. You
Right.
don't cap lines, then you have mass chaos, people cutting, people upset that they don't know when they're gonna, get to the front of the line. I mean, you can't win either way. So
Sure.
I think at the end of the day, it ultimately comes down to planning. And since we didn't plan, I'm not mad. I'm just like, okay, I kind of just, brushed it off and just kind of kept it moving.
Right.
But I think we did luck out when it came to lining up for the panel. I mean, we were first
We
in
were
line
first in
for,
line.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a lot of me being me and being uber paranoid about not sitting up front.
Oh, yeah.
Shout
yeah.
out to
Yeah.
Kev if you're listening to this, because you've had to deal with this for for a few years now when we go to like soccer games or anything where it's general admission, and my ass is out there 2.5 hours before anything starts. So
Do me a
um
favor. Remind me next time we go to an event like this to mold a cast for my leg and walk around with a cane. I don't care if those were legit people. I just want to copy that, and I don't care what you think of me.
you have no shame.
I am
You're
going to be
you're
first in line everywhere I fucking
you're a
go.
terrible person, and
Yes.
I will personally break your legs just so we can get into places
Awesome.
early. Um, so yeah, so we hopped into, we created this with a bunch of other people, created this weird loitering group thing and waited in line for the line. Once we waited in line, it honestly went by pretty quickly. The 2.5 hours that we waited was actually pretty dope. We met some really nice people. Unfortunately, I don't remember their names, but it was pretty cool. Obviously, they were very big Mass Effect fans. I am as well,
Yeah.
but to the degree where they're dressed up, they have all the gear, all that stuff. Not for me, but very cool to see. So
Yeah, it was fun. We had good conversations that helped the time go by, and
yeah,
it was great, man. We
well,
talked
that's
about
what's all.
everything, dude. We talked about Doctor Who. We talked about Game of Thrones. We talked about a whole lot of Mass Effect.
All of
Everything
your
Mass
card
Effect.
games that you fucking like to play that I know nothing about.
Well, you
That
know
little
about one now,
subculture.
Resistance.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
We'll get into that. Quick little
Holy
sidebar. We'll
shit.
get into that. Oh God. Oh, all right. So speaking of card games, it's actually a really cool little kind of giveaway that they were doing, or kind of freebie that they were giving out. So we ended up, I guess, with Valentine's Day behind us,
Right?
they ended up giving us this really cool Valentine's Day looking card, where on the front it's a picture of
Shepherd.
well, a
Oh, in
female
the
shepherd.
front? Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
you're
was a
right.
female shepherd, Garrus, and a few of the other main characters from Mass Effect, all playing Cards Against Humanity. And when you open it up, there's Shepard kind of blowing you a kiss, which I didn't understand. I was confused because it's March and
Right?
it's St. Patrick's Day, but
And
whatever.
I'm just like, they've got all these things left over from another event. That's fine.
Yeah,
Give them to me. Give them
whatever.
to me.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll take them. And on the inside, it was actually really cool. There was a little mini booster pack for Cards Against Humanity that was themed after Mass Effect. So I thought it was a cool little giveaway. So big shout outs to everyone at BioWare for that. That was actually really cool. Really
Definitely.
appreciate that.
Definitely one of the cooler things that we got from the whole event.
Yeah, I mean, I got a PlayStation lanyard.
Yeah. Yeah. No, let's just fly right over your little doll that you bought.
Oh
Your
no.
plush
Well,
doll.
oh my. You mean Rupert, the
You
Krogan?
named the Krogan Rupert?
His name's Rupert.
His
Yes,
name is Rupert.
he's Rupert. Yes, he's sitting right next to me. Say hi to everyone, Rupert.
That
Thank
is
you.
the most non-badass name for a Krogan.
Yeah, but he'd still kick your ass and he'd eat your face.
We're gonna get more into him later.
Into Rupert? Oh yeah,
Oh yeah,
Rupert's the man.
yeah.
Um, so we finally got into the main theater, whatever. Is it a theater? Was that what they called it?
Yeah.
Wherever they were holding the panel, right?
Yeah.
And it was traditional panel design. They have a bunch of seats up front on the stage. There's an audience, and they kind of walked us through Liam's loyalty mission. So Liam is going to be one of the companions you can get in Mass Effect Andromeda. So they kind of just walked us through just a couple of simple basic mechanics. Just the galaxy map. Anybody who's played Mass Effect before is pretty familiar with what the galaxy map is. It's pretty much how you navigate throughout the galaxy and go to the different planets and kind of just really the starting point of any exploration you want to do. So it was actually really cool how they wanted to build the immersion. And one of the big complaints I had with the original Mass Effect trilogy when it came to just menu systems and transitions, Mass Effect 1 had the stupid long elevators. Do you remember those?
Of course,
that's
where I spent most of the game.
you were just forever. Like it was 2 minutes in an elevator in like a ship that literally.
Dude, I gotta tell you,
size.
I just thought like, why is this elevator ride so long, man? I didn't even stop to think, oh, this is a loading time. Nope,
yeah,
didn't even cross my mind. So they did a good job at that, I guess.
Yeah, but it was boring as fuck, right?
Oh, tell me about it.
It was just annoying as shit. And then in the other ones, if I'm not mistaken, it was just your traditional, like, hey, we're gonna cut to black, and there's like a little loading, icon or whatever in the corner.
Sure.
For Andromeda, the big idea is to kind of make it a little bit more artistic. So now as you're going from planet A to planet B, you're actually moving through space, and that's kind of your load screen, and it's going to be unique to whatever path you're taking. So if going from planet A to planet B is obviously one path, and going from planet B to planet C, that's going to be a different path you're taking. So what you see as the game's loading is going to be different, which I think is really cool, especially when you start thinking about just kind of the just your environment as a whole. They were saying, as you walk around the ship and you look outside, the background is going to be different based on what sun you're next to and what planet you're around, and are you near like an asteroid, like an asteroid belt, like some stuff like that. It's I think that's really awesome. I like the small little details like that.
Oh yeah, no, I enjoyed that. It's just I don't know. It's like so minimal to me as far as what I'm expecting to see. I just have a really like pessimistic look on this game. I'm just worried. I've got more concerns than you do. You're like really excited
we'll get
for
through
it.
them. I'm excited. I'm always open to the idea of franchises or new stories within an existing franchise. It's when you take the same character and beat it into the ground that pisses me off, right? Like with Halo, I love the Master Chief.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, it's a bastardization of what the original trilogy was.
Sure.
But when you look at Mass Effect, the big theme that I seem to have kind of gotten from hearing them talk was, this is brand new. This is something completely different. This is a new story. I think the one thing that they said was the original trilogy was this idea of going from hero to legend, whereas this trilogy focuses more on you're an explorer becoming a hero. So just immediately the perspective is going to be different, right? It's, I think it also ties into something that Tegan and I, big shout out to Tegan,
fuck that bitch.
as to how it relates to what the enemies we're going to be facing. So his point was, how do you top the Reapers, right? Like the Reapers are
yeah we're talking about that during dinner.
Yeah, and I was telling him like, I get it. I mean, there's a big source of pessimism, or you can be very critical of this new trilogy because you're right, you can't top the Reapers. But I think if you look at it from the perspective of, hero to legend, Shepard is going against all odds. He's already, people know who Shepard is to some extent, right?
Sure.
And he's going from, being someone who's known to someone who's defeated a pretty much God.
Yeah.
It's like you've defeated the most powerful thing that just exists, right? It's
in order to continue to exist. So the reason that we're getting this new game is because of Shepard. Yeah.
Well, I think it's different because weren't the Reapers just specifically confined to the Milky Way galaxy?
I didn't know that. No, I thought they were like flying all over the place. Like they
I was
had
always
no
under the
restrictions.
impression. All right, fair enough. I could be wrong, but either way, then when you look at Andromeda, the idea is you're an explorer, right? Like worlds unknown. You're going somewhere. What is it? 200. What is it? 200. 200 light years or whatever.
I
1,000
don't
light
remember
years.
exactly. I just know it was
Yeah,
really, really, really far
yeah.
away
They've
and
gone a
very
long
far
distance.
removed from the original story. And they
Yeah.
mean that like physically as well as metaphorically.
Correct. So you're talking about the next frontier, right? The next kind of whatever, right? This is the Lewis and Clark of Mass Effect.
Yeah.
You're not going to find facing the Reapers wouldn't make any sense, or facing an enemy equivalent to the Reapers would make no sense. What's an explorer going to fucking do against a god tier antagonist? I think it makes sense that your first real enemy or your first real antagonist in this game is just the more powerful, well-established race that exists or kind of dominates this new universe, or not universe, galaxy. To me, that makes perfect sense. Like, I think that actually falls within the idea of this explorer to hero kind of concept that they're trying to explore. But I know
to me, it just ends up being the same underdog story. You're still the underdog. You're always the underdog.
But that's all stories, though. I mean, what story isn't like you're the underdog? There isn't a single player game where you're like, what?
Of course
I'm
not.
badass. I'm gonna beat everyone.
Right. No, of course not. Of course not. But it's in the same universe. And with that being said, I mean, as we watched the whole kind of small demo that we got to watch, there were a lot of jokes. There was a lot of joking around. There was a lot of humor in it. And it was all very condensed. I'm hoping that it's not like this the whole time through, because it was really interesting when you just said like the whole new frontier kind of thing is what they're going for. This game reminds me of Star Trek, like the new movies with Kirk and all the humor that they try to throw in there. And I enjoy those movies, but it's like there's no, it doesn't feel like there's any weight to the story being told. I'm not enveloped in the story. It's just like funny jokes, a lot of action, and that's what I don't want it to be. I want to actually enjoy the story the most and be very like enveloped in it, like I was in Mass Effect 1.
Well, take it with a grain of salt. I mean, we're talking about a loyalty mission. The loyalty missions were a little campy too in the original Mass Effect trilogy. It's not like they were these giant epic sagas where things really got done. So some of them were kind of like, oh, this is kind of stupid, but yeah, all right, cool, you're my friend.
Yeah, like most Fallout 4 loyalty missions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's, someone's being incredibly petty about something, aka me, and you want to
who
go
was being super petty in the last Mass Effect? Wasn't it like Jack? Was Jack her name? She was like a really crazy bald chick.
Yeah, she reminds me of what's her face? What's that porn star's name who has the shaved sides of her head?
Size. I think that would be like almost every stripper and half the porn
hold
stars.
on. I know her name. She got beat up by her MMA boyfriend.
Christy Mack got beat up by her MMA boyfriend. She got wrecked.
Yeah. So for some reason, she reminds me of Christy Mack.
Okay. Gotcha.
Now, there's anything wrong with that. Immediately walking away from this very awkward revelation.
I just found out who Shepard was banging on your ship.
I may or may not have called her Christy multiple times.
Gotcha.
So from the as we kind of saw in the demo, like Jay alluded to, there's definitely a lot of humor involved, but I liked it. I thought it was funny. I enjoyed it. It gives a different personality to the protagonist, right? I would hate to have someone who's trying to be Shepard. You know what I'm saying? Like Shepard was cold to some extent. He was kind of to the point. He was very dry at times. I mean, obviously you had your Paragon and Renegade options, but for the most part, he was about business, right? He was about getting shit done and fucking.
Right.
This is all Shepard did. Shepard killed people and he fucked people.
And he fucked things. Things. Everything that moved.
Whereas this guy, I forget his name. Oh, this is terrible that I don't know the protagonist's name. Let's call him Jake.
Yeah. He looks like a Jake. I'll give you that.
Let's call him Jake. I don't even know what his fucking name is, but I think it's interesting given that he seems to be more of just a common person, right?
And
Which
so
I think
young. He seems young. He seems like short. Like when you were honestly in Commander Shepherd, he looked like a tall, like a 7-foot dude. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Just like very, very
like a hero.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. You think like he's big, he towers over people, he's muscular, he's
he's about to impose his will on you whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this guy is like, well, like me. It's just like, hey, I'm just some schlep. I somehow ended up in the position of captaining the ship, and I have a bunch of people under my responsibility, and I'm like,
and I've got this gun. Let's go.
All right, guys, let's figure this one out.
Right.
Hey guys, I'm Jump. This is my band of random people from the Milky Way.
This is what I will give them, because I don't want to shit on the game completely or anything. Like I'm really not. I'm just skeptical.
I won't let you.
I like the verticality now. I mean, it's just another level of freedom that I wish I had in the originals. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
it's
definitely
just,
new element.
It really frees you up. It really makes you feel like you're really controlling this person. It would piss me off when there was this tiny ledge in front of me, and I'd be like, "Why can't I step over this?"
The legend can't go over a fucking barrier.
The legend, the god,
defeated by a fucking
ledge.
A ledge in a bush.
Yeah,
reminds you of like Pokemon, when you're saying that like I can just climb this, right? Like any 12-year-old can climb this.
No, you know what I would imagine when I was playing those games, that this world was always like going uphill. Okay, so jumping down, it was just a mountain. The whole game I pictured
it's a flat Earth.
Mountain.
It's all flat Earth.
Yeah, and it's on a tilt. So you could clearly only come down, but you couldn't go up because I didn't have any rope.
Small side tangent. Shout out to, I think it was Vsauce. If you check out their YouTube channel, they actually had Vsauce one had a episode on flat Earths, and technically the idea of like going from the center of a flat Earth to the edge is what you described, of a kind of a perpetually like a huge perpetual incline until you get to the edge. So yeah, so
I missed that one.
Yeah.
I just saw the Vsauce 3 one with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and it was all about space and time. And
that's one with Jake. Yeah, Jake.
Oh, so good. Fucking love that one.
I'm talking about the one with Michael. Michael does Vsauce 1. Kevin does Vsauce 2, and then Vsauce 3 is Jake.
Yeah, Vsauce 2 ain't for me, but yeah.
Vsauce 2 he has good content, man. He seems very removed to some extent from the rest of them. All right, we're on a fucking tangent. All right, so bringing it all back to the demo. Couple of interesting tidbits. As a lot of us already know, this game runs on Frostbite, which definitely helps give them the more developed backdrops. It helps with kind of the physics. It probably has a very big involvement in kind of adding this verticality and having the power and the proper engine in order to support vertical as well as horizontal gameplay. And one interesting little tidbit that they kind of mentioned was that the way that the levels are designed, it's supposed to enclose you, so there's that level of realism. You know, when there's a game where it's like you can't walk any further, but there's like open grass right in front of me, but it's like there's like this weird invisible wall.
Yeah. Like the whole ledge issue.
Yeah, exactly. So that was obviously very cool. Kind of to actually tying back to what we were saying, when you compare Shepard and you compare this guy we're going to call Jake, when you talk about dialogue options, right? You had the Paragon Renegade option in the original Mass Effect trilogy, which was kind of, are you a good guy? Are you a bad guy?
Right.
You know, or no, are you a good guy or are you a dick? Not really a bad guy. You're just a giant, kind of just cockhole.
Yeah, you're a real fucking asshole, dude. Like that's what I did, man. Anybody crossed me, they were flying out a window real quick.
Well, that's the thing, right? So you kept on hitting the right trigger, right? You kept on kind of flying through everything, right? So it was an interesting point that they brought up, because I was personally skeptical of the idea of moving away from the Paragon Renegade system, because I actually enjoyed it a lot.
Right.
I was like, okay, this is cool. This is awesome. I like this idea of, I'm a good, it's kind of like a karma system Fallout, right? I like the idea of having that option, right? So with this new guy, I actually agree with him that it doesn't make sense to have Paragon Renegade, but more so tones. So now there's going to be 4 tones that kind of set the the potential dialogue options. So I don't think you'll always have all 4 tones open or available to you, but the
Sure.
questions, or sorry, the responses are formulated based on these tones. So it's like, you know, for this specific question and conversation that we're having, am I going to be sassy? Am I going to give a professional answer? Am I going to fucking, tell him I'm going to rip out his throat and then fuck it? Or, am I going to be like, hey, this is, I'm going to connect with you on an emotional level, that type deal,
Yeah,
right?
because this guy, he's becoming his own person. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? It's not like he's an established, like, this is who I am.
Yeah.
He's figuring it out as he goes.
Exactly, and kind of going back to what you're saying, right? He's not imposing his dominance. It's not like he's Shepard, or we can be like, I'm gonna be nice, I'm gonna be an ass, and you're gonna do what I say. This is just some regular guy having regular conversations, right?
Right.
So I think it makes sense. I'm actually really excited for that.
Same.
Um, let's see a couple different notes. I'm just looking through the notes I took. They said that the movement using cover seems to be more organic, whereas in the old games you kind of moved up in waves, like you would move up to cover, defeat a wave, move up and cover, defeat a wave, move up and cover. Now it's meant to be more with the verticality involved. It's supposed to be a little more organic. It's supposed to kind of just everything kind of is a little more dynamic in how everything moves together.
Right.
There's apparently 1,200 unique characters in the game, which is very cool. This is what I thought was really awesome. The idea of switching your profiles over time. So you can have multiple different play styles as you're playing the game, as opposed to being caught in, I'm only an adept or I'm only a vanguard. Right? I thought
I
that was
love
cool.
that, man. I love
Yeah.
that. But my favorite part is the favorites. So that you can set up what mapping you want to do for a certain play style. Like if you like CQB, you're
Hmm.
gonna set up a play style with that in mind. You're gonna have
Sure.
the weapons listed to that. You're gonna have not the weapons, but the abilities mapped to that. And if you need to snipe, then all of a sudden you're gonna have to switch that over. And that's really cool because especially for console gamers, it's tough, man, when you have all these abilities and you can't do everything at once because you have to roll through the what do they call those menus that it freezes the game and you spin through it to pick abilities? You know what I'm
Oh,
talking about, right?
yeah. Let's just call it your skill tree, almost like your skill tree
Sure,
type deal,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
So this simplifies things. This makes it much easier to manage than it previously has been. So that I can get behind. I really enjoy that. And it also gives the creators more freedom. You know what I mean? Because I bet you in previous games they've been like, oh, well, we're gonna have to limit what we do, how expansive we make this because of this restriction. And this is a good workaround in that sense of it. So,
Definitely.
looking forward to that.
Squad controls. You can control your squad on using the D-pad. I thought that was pretty cool. Strike missions. So what you can do is, and I think they did a really good job of how they want to incorporate the multiplayer, and I'll get into it because it actually ties into the strike missions in the, I guess, Mass Effect 2 and 3. Mass Effect 3, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Because 2 did 2 have multiplayer? I think 2 was just like a survival one, right? And I think
Bro,
3,
even if they did, I never played it.
whatever. But yeah, in 3,
Yeah,
in order to get the best ending, you actually had to participate in multiplayer
gotcha.
in order for it to impact the single player, which people did not like. I personally was not a fan. I'm all for the idea of trying to integrate multiplayer and single player, but that's bullshit. I was just not a fan of that.
Yeah,
So according to the devs, they said they listened to this feedback and actually kind of modified the way multiplayer ties into single player through the strike missions. So now what happens is you either send an AI to complete these strike missions, or you play it yourself in multiplayer. And I think it's a means of gaining resources as opposed to it actually impacting the lore you're creating and the story you're creating, right? So I thought that was actually a really cool approach.
okay.
um and spoiler alert for anyone who doesn't want anything spoiled at all whatsoever, give me like 2-3 minutes, starting now. So during the Q&A session, um they asked about how certain things in the original Mass Effect trilogy tie into this new trilogy, and the one thing that was mentioned was the genophage, and apparently it's still an issue for the Krogan, but we don't know what exactly to what extent.
Right. Right.
So I
Because
thought that was
they
cool.
did. Well, how many years has it been? How long has gone by so far?
Uh,
A long time.
I don't know if the 200 was the 200,000 light years or if it was 200 years that they were in space. Either
I don't
way, it's
know.
been
Either way,
substantial.
it took them a long time to get to this point where they're traveling to Andromeda. So I'm giving
Yeah,
them a good time span, you know?
sure.
Um, like, I mean, I have questions myself. You know, like, did the genophage get cured? Like,
All
did it get
right, so
fixed?
let's
Like,
let's wrap it up right there. 'Cause I think that was 2 minutes.
fair enough. Fair
So
enough.
welcome back, anybody who came back. But yeah, then I guess they took some more Q&A questions. Some of the questions I know Jay and I felt, or some of the responses Jay and I
Responses.
felt were a little canned, a little
Yeah.
wishy-washy. Especially they started talking about DLC.
Oh yeah.
Anybody who knows me very well knows that I'm a very big opponent of the idea of DLC, especially when it fragments player bases and user bases and all that. I'm more a proponent of charge me a shit ton of money in the beginning, I'll save up for it, and give me a complete game. But that's a conversation for another time. Yeah, so that was pretty much the panel. I mean, the panel was great. I doubt anyone from BioWare actually listens to this show, but if you do, we really appreciate the time you guys took to talk to everyone about this stuff and sharing your love child, because I'm a huge Mass Effect stan, and it is March 15th, and I have EA access. And I'm so ready for March 16th to get here so I can play it early and burn through my 10 hours in like a day, and I am like a child right now.
It didn't just stop there though. Like they were in a room upstairs from the main exhibition center where we got to see them just like sitting around a table answering questions, man. Like they
That
were
was really
even willing
cool.
to sign, like anything you wanted signed. They were
Oh
really
my
cool,
god,
man.
I forgot my fucking Shepard and Garrus pops.
Right, right.
Especially
Dude, it
with
was
the art director there.
the
One of
art
the
director
creative
was
writer,
there.
the art director, and one of the lead writer was there. I was like, "Yep, these are the things that you fuck up on Jump," and I'm like, "Yep, these are the things. These are the
And I
things."
mean, we also didn't we didn't get a chance to play the multiplayer or anything like that. But
We
what we
did
did
not.
get a chance was to watch it on the big screen in that room itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, what we saw was not bad, man. I mean, we saw some multiplayer gameplay where it was probably a 5v5 from what I could count. I was just trying to watch it while people were walking around. It was kind of hectic. But what I did see was like a 5v5, and they had sort of like AI creatures roaming around.
It reminded me
It,
of Titanfall.
yeah, in a way. In a way. Fair enough.
Well, just with the AIs being around as kind of
Yeah.
cannon fodder.
Yeah. Like I think they were against both sides at the same time. And still, to me, it didn't interest me. I'm not in Mass Effect for the multiplayer. If it's good, I hope it is. I just didn't get any hands on to say whether it was or not.
Sure.
Then I'll play it. But that's not what I'm in it for. So here's hoping for a great like storyline.
I'm super excited. So anybody who's interested in Mass Effect Andromeda, it releases next week on Tuesday, right? So March 21st, 2017. For anyone who has EA access, you get a 10-hour trial starting March 16th, 2017, aka tomorrow, aka the day this podcast episode will probably already be out by. So run. If get EA access for $5, $5 personally. We're not sponsored, trust me. We're way too small time to be fucking sponsored. But personally, I've gotten a lot of value out of EA access. I think with the early game trials and a lot of this stuff, I think it's pretty cool. There's definitely some value there.
Honestly, just get it when it's like necessary. Like right now, it's
then
necessary.
cancel
You
it.
just get it now
Exactly.
and then
Yeah, get it
cancel.
now and cancel
Right.
it. Exactly.
Right. It's only $5, and you're gonna get
It
to
is
play
only
that.
$5.
Like,
All right, look at this
like
bougie. It's only $5.
I know that's so bougie.
Yeah. So I mean, that was pretty much day one. Day 2 and 3 of PAX. Honestly, it was a lot of walking around. It was a lot of chilling. Nothing too memorable from my end. I actually missed day 3. I needed to take care of a few personal items. Jay went with some family, and yeah, I don't know if you want to tell us a little bit about what you saw.
Yeah, I mean, day 3 was basically when I got a chance to just like mess around with some of the indie games. It was like I said, I already told you which one caught my eye the most. I did get a chance to finally play on VR, which I'd never done before. I
What'd you think?
played Blind. I didn't go in blind. The game's name was Blind, but it was pretty cool. Like the idea, the concept of the game was that you kind of have like these sticks and you touch the floor and it kind of reverberates through the room and lights it up momentarily. So you got to keep tapping the floor almost as if you're like Daredevil, like
Okay.
off of sounds
Hmm.
and kind of trying to solve what's going on in the room. And you're finding cassette tapes and they're playing a story so that you can proceed through it. I'm over here not paying attention to any of that and just getting frustrated when doors don't open and it's showing like as I'm playing, all I hear is people in the background laughing at me because I'm picking up books and I'm trying to open them and they don't open, so I just throw them. Like I just chuck them. People are dying, and I see a stair like a little step stool. I'm trying to
Hmm.
put it where I want it to go, and it won't move. So I'm clenching my fist in front of me, and the character's doing it. And it was pretty hilarious, man. Everybody was laughing. It was fun. I really enjoyed
It
that
sounds like a
thing.
good time. That actually sounds really funny.
Yeah, an interesting thing that I did not know how this would work was the whole focus thing. I didn't have to wear my glasses, um,
Hmm.
which I mean, normally I guess I would have to, even though I'm not used to it yet. But but when I put the headset on, he said, "Does it look blurry?" I'm like, "Yeah." So he says, "Tilt it up and down, see what works for you." And just tilting it slightly, it has like a I didn't get to see the straps or anything, but it has a way where it stays in the tilt that you put it, and that's how you get the focus on that. I had no idea.
Oh, yeah. I think for the most part, my vision is decent enough where I didn't really need to do that the one time I've used VR.
Yeah,
But that's actually pretty interesting. Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what
With
do
the
you
tilt,
think?
you
You
get the
think?
focus, and it was an Oculus, by the way,
Okay.
and it was cool, man. I wish I got to try it like with kind of the real VR feel, but what they do in the booths is set it to like when you're turning, it sets you to 30-degree snaps to prevent people from getting motion sickness.
Oh,
I
okay.
guess that's important because you don't want people like feeling sick
Yakking.
when they're testing this game that you're trying to
Yeah.
sell. So I get it. I just kind of wish I had the options to just like, hey, let me get it to like feel like I'm really, really in there because it pulled you out. It pulled you out a lot of the time.
Okay.
And yeah, no, I mean, other than that, um,
What are you saying on the
it's
VR bandwagon?
VR, man, I'm honestly all for it. I just want to see where it goes. I want it to progress. Albeit it's going really slowly, but that's just the way these things go. And at some point, it's just gonna take off, and I'm expecting that. I'm expecting it to just like go and just hit the mainstream. But VR was just a really small part of the whole PAX experience. One thing that I noticed, like I said, I hadn't been to PAX before, and I only did Comic Con one time, which was in New York, which is what like the only the second biggest Comic Con.
Mm-hmm.
And what kind of like disappointed me was the lack of vendors in the venue itself. And I understand
No,
they
there's a lot
kind
of
of
vendors. I think you mean like just to buy shit or like because there
yeah,
were
yeah,
vendors
yeah.
there.
No, I know there were vendors there, but there wasn't a lot of selection like of things to buy, man. There really
Ah,
wasn't.
okay. Okay,
And
you wanted trinkets and
oh yeah,
tchotchkes
yeah,
and
all kinds of things that they just didn't have. I did end up buying more Cards Against Humanity while I was there, like the new expansions and all that.
yeah, you bought a lot.
Yeah, a few things. I didn't buy Krogan,
Hey,
but
don't
yeah,
talk about Rupert
yeah.
like that. Don't talk about Rupert. All right,
And you got them
it's
on
a
sale.
goddamn
You
say.
got them on sale, so
Yeah. Oh
I'll give it
yeah.
to you.
So whoever the thieves at that booth were trying to sell Rupert for $40, I got him for 25 and
25,
still paid too much for him. I
right?
love you, Rupert. I'm sorry, but you're an expensive plush. Um, um, and speaking of expensive and potentially overpriced things, let's switch on over to the Switch. See, good. Oh god, terrible puns.
That transition was so bad.
So bad. It was rough. It was
That
rough.
transition felt like people are gonna think that you edited this, and we're like, all right, cut and paste.
cut.
No, that was like real time.
No, that was just bad. It was just bad transition. But
right.
It actually. So I ended up getting a Switch. Like a few other people that I know. Shout out to Phoenix from the PvEPodcast. You ended up buying one, and I'm not gonna let you live it down because you shat on this thing so fucking much, and then you got one day one. So
shame. Where's my bell?
Yeah, traveling up to Boston actually gave me an opportunity to do a little more real world testing of just battery life and just kind of how I feel using it as a handheld. Jay doesn't have a Switch. Actually, you didn't even get a chance to use my Switch.
No.
We were too caught up with things, but
it was a really, really long weekend.
It was a really long weekend, and I don't know, man. I'm kind of blown away. Like, the short and sweet, it really comes down to this: if you have $360 to blow to play Zelda, buy the damn fucking thing. It's fucking great. I really enjoy. I mean, it definitely has its areas that it needs to work on, but it's really cool. If $360 isn't anything for you, go ahead and just blow that money. If $360 is a lot of money to you, and then we're talking, that's just the Switch and the game. We're not talking battery packs and fucking pro controllers and SD card. I mean, we're just talking just Switch, game.
Which personally, I feel like the pro controller is necessary.
Depends.
I just cannot fathom using those little things.
So I'll get into that. So if $360 is a lot of money for you,
which it is for me, especially for a Nintendo Zelda,
don't spend it. If you already have a Wii U, buy the game on the Wii U. Honestly, there's a lot of videos that have come out at this point pretty much saying that the graphics really aren't all that different between one and the other. And there's only so much you're going to get out of a device that pushes out 900p on, say, 4K, right? It's going to look like shit anyway. So yeah, so that's kind of where I stand as a whole. I personally am enjoying it a lot. I personally think this is the pivotal the pivotal moment where Nintendo goes from being console centric to truly handheld centric. To me, the Switch is a handheld console that competes with iPads and tablets and mobile gaming than it does with competing with Xbox and PlayStation. And I know Phoenix and I had a conversation about this in terms of where the Switch kind of falls. But me personally, this is the true pivotal point where the dock is the additional feature. That's kind of like, oh, here's this awesome, cool extra thing it can do. But handheld mode is the best mode. Now, with that said, we're talking about a device that has shit battery life for a handheld. I mean, Zelda's a great game and all, but 2.5 hours in, you're reaching for a battery pack or having it connected to the wall, which really sucks. Especially if we're talking. This is one of the first games to come out on it. I don't expect it getting any better from here. You know what I'm saying? Like it's gonna be equivalent to this, if not worse, especially as games are gonna become more resource intensive, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a fear of mine that at some point that I don't know if it's being short-sighted or if it was for cost savings or whatever the rationale was for keeping the Switch's battery to just truly a true real life maximum of about 2.5 hours for a game as intensive as Zelda really disappoints me, because there's so much potential for this thing actually being used outside of the home. If you are interested in a battery pack, not any battery pack will do. It needs to push out 3 amps if I'm not mistaken. So make sure to look into your battery pack. Anything that uses USB Type-C is obviously the type you're going to need, because it's a USB Type-C port in the bottom. Really, 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 really stupid decision to put the USB Type-C port on the bottom of the device, because you can't use the kickstand when it's charging. Just a heads up. going to your point, I'm just going to run through a few bullet points. Honestly, there's enough videos out there about the Switch. I just wanted to give you my quick thoughts about everything. If you guys have any questions, reach out to the show. I'll put the plugs at the end just so you can reach out. A few other things to keep in mind, I guess, from just using this device. The Joy-Cons are cool. They're too fucking tiny, and I have fucking small hands. I mean, Jay makes fun of me all the time for my fucking boyish hands, but
and figure,
and figure. But the Joy-Cons are stupid. They're stupid tiny. No one's gonna be able to use them on their own as a standalone controller. It's ridiculous. Stop, Nintendo. Like, damn well, like it's a cool feature you can try and push, but personally, I don't think it works. With that said, the Joy-Cons connected to the Switch itself, perfect. It feels great. The only complaint I have is the off-centered, joysticks, which kind of forces your right hand to kind of do a weird little claw to balance it. Not the end of the world. But once those Joy-Cons are docked into the Switch itself, it's actually really nice. Good weight. Feels pretty premium. I think it's a knockout. When you take them off and try and use it in the dock mode in the little whatever that stupid thing is called where you slide it in, it's terrible. It's not very ergonomically fucking well designed. It's kind of shit. You need the Pro controller personally. And that kind of brings me to the dock. The dock.
Jesus, it's not over?
No, because
Holy
there's
shit.
I know this is a rant, and I'll be done soon. But Jesus fucking Christ, that dock! It's just a piece of plastic. It is.
Yeah,
I
hear it's flimsy.
It's flimsy as fuck. If the little port when you dock it, if you just rock it at all, it comes out and disconnects from your TV. It's
literally
it's
just
an afterthought.
plastic.
It's an afterthought.
Casing. It's just casing.
Yeah, it's all it is. It's casing and ports, and it's an afterthought. That's why when I look at this device, I don't think console. I think handheld. Well, I guess handheld console, but you know what I mean. It's not like a fixed in place home console. It's a portable handheld console, because that dock does not scream, hey, you know what, we're gonna spend months of research and development to figuring out what works. That actually to me looks like, hey guys, we need an additional feature to sell. Mm-hmm. Let's dock it into something. Genius. Fucking someone go out there and get me the cheapest fucking plastic you can find and fucking put something together.
They're like, look at this, guys. At first we had a handheld, now we have a hybrid. We're gonna sell the fuck out of this thing.
Exactly. So that whole thing is just poorly designed. I mean, like I said, it rocks when it's in there. There's already people coming out saying that docking it and undocking it over and over may potentially scratch your screen. So make sure to get yourself a nice screen protector. I personally am never going to use it in the dock. It's never that dock. Honestly, if someone wants it, I'd be more than happy to give it to you at this point. Just because, to me, I just don't see it. I just don't see it. I think the 3DS is gonna have its own little niche market, if for anything, that maybe wants 3D, but I think that thing's gonna slowly fizzle away. The Switch is here to stay. Switch 2 is gonna be fucking dope. If you want to even wait for that, I think it'll. Did you just sneeze, or was that a?
No, that was like, how are we talking about Switch 2 right now?
Because honestly, this is a half step.
Sure. Okay. So it's Switch 1.5.
No. This is a half step. Switch 1 is a half step. This is the destiny of handheld consoles. This is your beta for the real handheld that's going to come out in a few years.
Okay.
That's why I say if $360 is not a lot of money for you to blow it, because it's an amazing kind of experience for any. Yeah, it's an amazing experience for anyone who wants to be cutting edge and wants to try the latest technology. But if you really need to think about saving your schmeckles for this shit, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Get your if you have a Wii U, get it on there. I personally can't recommend anyone buying this just for this.
Okay. So, okay. With all that, right?
Yeah, it's a lot. I'm sorry.
It's a lot.
I felt like
I got half of it in my mind right now.
Okay.
The half that kind of pertains to where I'm going with this, but the Nintendo needs to stay in it. Pick a lane, find a lane, and stay in it.
Ding,
Okay,
ding, ding.
it
Yep.
is crazy. They're all over the place, and it's kind of frustrating as a consumer because you don't know what to expect from them, and what you get doesn't feel like it was the plan all along.
Yep.
You know?
I agree with that. A bunch of half measures
Yeah.
everywhere. And what did we learn
So
from Breaking Bad?
no half measures,
No half measures.
full measures. Run over them, kill them
Yep.
with your car.
Yep.
Okay, go watch Breaking Bad. Worth it. But as far as the future of handheld gaming, okay, have you seen the Shield, the Nvidia Shield
Yeah,
thing?
I've used it before. Yeah.
You've used it, right?
Yeah.
Um, Basically, the games that you have on Steam, you can play on a portable device, right?
Sure.
These are Steam games that are playable on your computer, and you could also take them on the road. You can take them on an airplane. You can take them places, right?
Yep.
This is all the promoting I've seen and my understanding of from messing with it at Micro Center and looking it up on Steam itself and all that.
Sure.
To me, this is the future of handheld console gaming. The
The
games,
Shield or the Switch?
no. The fact of taking a game, a real AAA title, full scale 1080p, I'm
900p.
sorry, I can't talk 1080p as being like HD for you anymore. You bougie ass 4K gamer.
If I can't see the wrinkles on their face, I don't want to fucking play it.
Right.
I want to see the emotions in every single movement.
But
All right, I'm
yeah,
done.
but Nintendo's, you're right in that this is the direction of handheld gaming is going, but Nintendo got it wrong. They didn't, like you said, half measures. They're not going all the way. This is a handheld console. This is not a home console. It's not.
Nope.
It's
Nope.
not.
I
They
can't.
can spin it any way they want, but it's just not.
It's just an added feature to me. It's just a bullet point on a fucking fact sheet.
Sure.
It can also dock to your TV.
Sure. It's like saying my laptop, you can look at a PowerPoint on my laptop, but I can also plug it into an HDMI and all of a sudden it's on a projector on a screen.
Correct. Or do you remember when there were phones that you could buy that had a dock that would turn it into a laptop?
Right.
The Motorola Atrix, aka
Yeah.
that one of my old phones.
Yeah. Tablets that want to be laptops, aka the Surface.
I actually like my Surface, so fuck you. Fight me, bitch.
That was an easy jab.
That was an easy jab. Anybody who bought an iPad Pro, you played yourself. You fucking played yourself. You and your stupid fucking pencil, man. Fuck all of you. Yo, let's go Android. Team Android. Fuck Apple. Bang bang.
Oh my god. You want another 12 minutes for another rant? I've got your soapbox right here, man. It's inflatable. Yeah. So I don't know, man. I can't pay that much for a handheld console. I love Zelda. I've loved Zelda my entire fucking life. Um, it's not worth it to me. Not yet. Not yet. And I told you, we had this discussion on the podcast itself. I said 250, yes. 300 with the game, 350, no. Like I'm just not doing it. That's 350 with no game. That's just the handheld console.
No. It's 360 with the game.
Oh, it's 360 with the game.
Yeah. It's 360 with the game. But the thing is, to your point, when you look at the games catalog, right? It's Zelda, Shovel Knight. I've heard okay things, and then there's everything else.
Yeah,
there's only
Shovel
9.
Knight's been around for like ever.
Exactly.
It's not even like it's exclusive to this or anything.
Exactly. So you have 9 games that you can buy. If you can actually change the region to Japan, and I think there's a little bit more on the Japanese Nintendo eShop.
Yeah.
But there's 9 on the US one, and of those 9, one of them is 1-2 Switch. And if you go and check out Angry Joe's review on the 1-2 Switch, game, wow. From what I saw, Jesus Christ, that should have been included in the fucking bundle, right? And if you want to buy that independently, that should be no more than fucking $15 at best. Jesus
Gotcha.
Christ, that is the most lazy fucking thing I've ever fucking seen in my life. And Nintendo, if you're listening, man, Wii Sports was way better than this, man. Like, what is going on?
Damn. And on top of that, I mean, shouldn't this game have come out with like a laundry list of past and present Nintendo games that were available at your disposal to just download? I mean, how much does it cost you to put the emulator that you have on Nintendo Wii playing the NES and SNES and all these
It
games
depends on that.
onto
Might
it?
be an architecture thing. This might be the whole
Okay,
Xbox
but I'm
One.
not going to give them that because
I'm not going to give it to them
they were
either.
building this. They were
Oh no,
building
I
this,
agree
and this
with
should
you.
have been in mind.
But that might be the explanation why. I agree with you. When it comes to, remember, I'm big on value proposition. What is the one thing I always fucking get on my soapbox about? I have a box that just says value proposition on it. It's a special box. I love this box.
It's
a
own
sweet
box.
box. Rupert is sitting on this box right now because he was okay. Fuck it. Rupert, go
We'll
to your
let
corner,
that go.
Rupert. Rupert, go to your corner. Yeah, no, it's no. Like sorry, I was a little distracted. One of my boys just hit me up that the Andromeda trial for Origin Access is up
The
now.
night at midnight. Oh,
Yeah,
it's
right
up
now.
now.
No, to download for preload, so I could play at midnight.
Oh,
Blessed. It's 4K goodness flowing through my bodies.
Good shit.
Oh.
And you're gonna play it on the EA Access, right? So like is EA Access on PC at all?
Yeah, that's what it
is. So I could just like go on the PC and log in.
No, you have to buy a separate one. Which is stupid.
Really?
But yeah.
Really though.
Excuse me. Speaking of subscription services, let's kind of transition over to. Actually, no. Speaking of subscription services, the last thing on the Switch, the online service is free until fall 2017, and at launch there is no online service. Whatever. There's no Xbox Live, PlayStation Now equivalent. So, switching over to Xbox and PlayStation. We got some interesting news over the past 2 weeks as it relates to everyone's favorite camps, Xbox and PlayStation, as it relates to their futures regarding subscription services. So I guess we'll start with Xbox, just
because that's the one that matters, right? So as far as
you got a snort out of me. Congratulations.
So Xbox is coming out with Xbox Game Pass, right? Mm-hmm. Xbox Game Pass is going to be very similar to EA Access in the way that you pay a subscription fee, which we're looking at what right now?
$10.
$10 a month. $10 a month.
$10, if I'm not mistaken, I think it is $10.
On top of the $60 that we're paying a year for Xbox Live service. 60, it's still 60, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yep.
And we're getting.
I mean, if you're paying $60 for Xbox Live, you've played yourself. But go on.
Right. But we're looking at a list of games that are available. Some of which you look at and you're like, if I hadn't played that, that'd be really fun to play right now. You can really like tell, like if someone you know hasn't played it, you could be like, hey, this is really worth it to take a look at these games, particularly BioShock 1, 2, and Infinite. Right?
Infinite. Oh,
that's a good list, man.
Game. Great game.
That's a good list. If no one's ever played it, they get to play the whole fucking trifecta, you know? And really have fun with that. Now, for someone like you or I, we'll look at this list and say, so you're just charging more for the service you've been providing for the last few, like year, 2 years now, where they just got like a free with gold or like play this
yes and no. There is actually a genuine difference between games with gold and Xbox Game Pass.
And I know there is, but that difference means nothing to me now looking at the list.
You can't look at it from that perspective, though. You have to look at it. It's a separate independent service from you got to look at it from the consumer standpoint, right? Because obviously we're one type of consumer, then there's a completely separate type of consumer, right? For the longest time, the traditional marketplace is, hey, you, yes, you, the one who wants to buy this game, do you have $60 right now? Oh, you're poor? Sorry, wait till it goes on sale.
Mm-hmm.
Now there's an affordable option for those who don't have the means to drop $60 on a game for it to suck.
Uh-huh.
I think the, again, value proposition, right? I think this is a good secondary service to exist.
I can understand what you're saying. I can get where you're coming from. But these games that I'm looking at have been out for a very long time.
Sure.
If you were interested in a game and at an affordable price point, apparently, and one of these games interested you, okay, you could find the ratings for this game and know that it'd be good or bad or whatever. And even if you didn't, right, I could look up BioShock 2 right now and I will find it for a price that is far less than the price of the subscription.
That's a fair
point.
point.
Now, if this were recent games, right, like games within the past year and a half, 2 years, sure, no, like definitely, like you could sell that point to me. But what I'm looking at here, I'm not buying it. Not at least from the perspective that you're pointing out here. But I get it.
I think right now in its inception, you're absolutely right that the value proposition isn't there, especially since a lot of it's just backwards compatible games, right? We're not talking about any recent AAA titles,
right?
If they do a good job of actually building a good catalog, kind of like, remember how EA Access originally was kind of shitty?
Yeah.
But you kind of bought into it, and then you kind of waited. And now if you look at the vault, it's actually pretty decent. It's actually a pretty solid collection for $10 a month. I think the one thing that's really nice about the Xbox Game Pass that I kind of like and I kind of dislike, right? It's a combination of the two, right? I like, so to take a step back, I like games with gold because you're essentially being given a game that you can download to your machine, and when it rolls off games with gold, it is yours, right? That's a cool feature, and I like that. Xbox Game Pass doesn't have that. It's for a month, you own that game, but the moment it rolls off, you can buy it for a discount, which kind of sucks, but at the same time works towards the idea that was originally kind of panned out. It's not to give you games, it's to let you to be able to try games, play them, beat them, and then move on to something else, right? I think it fits that mindset a lot more than say EA, what is it, Origin Access or EA Access?
Yeah.
Where you are essentially using it as a means to build this catalog forever. So I don't know, maybe I personally like the design of EA Access better than the Xbox Game Pass, but I can see where the Xbox Game Pass plays a role in everything. Now, when you start thinking about, am I going to get both EA Access and the Xbox Game Pass, then you're talking about, okay, what kind of games do you prefer? Are you a big EA guy? Like it's gonna get messy.
You really
got
to start prioritizing there,
exactly.
Especially when let's not beat around the bush with this, right? This program is not going to at any point, honestly, in my opinion, it's not going to get games like the ones that everyone is into, like Call of Duty. I never see Call of Duty going on here.
Oh no,
I never see it happening. Halo. I see a Halo game here. That is not Halo 4 or 5. That's
I see that happening. I see it happening. I guarantee.
You think so?
I guarantee it.
I mean, it would be the best
first party games. First party games
Yeah.
will go on it. I guarantee you'll see Gears of War on there at some point, the new one. You'll see Gears of War, the new one, at some point, and you'll see Halo 5 on there at some point.
That would be how they sell this. That would be
that's how they sell it, and they gain additional revenue, because it's going to be one of those things where I've never played Halo 5 before. Let me play Halo 5. Ooh, I like Halo 5. It's going to roll off. Let me buy Halo 5.
Right. Because you're also never going to see a Battlefield on there because you already have EA Access.
Exactly. Then this is the problem that you run into with the subscription age that we have, that we live in now. Right. Hulu, Netflix, what else is out there? Crackle.
Man, the list goes on and on.
Well, that's the thing, right? Before it was
Sling.
like, oh, Sling. It's like, okay, now before you were paying $10, you got all this shit. But now with, okay, well, X company holds the rights to this, and Y company holds the rights to that, and Z company holds the rights to this other thing. You're gonna start going from value to, I'm pretty much paying for a shit ton of money. You gotta either sit in a camp or see which one works best for you, or it's tough because we're in this weird gray area that I think we were in a few years ago when with Netflix and all these other things kind of popping up, where when I looked at my statement at the end of the month, I was like, wow, I'm spending a lot of fucking money on subscription services.
At one point I was like, oh, I don't need cable anymore. Like, cable's too expensive. You spend too much money on cable, and then you look at the bill, you're like, wait, what's this?
I spent $100 on subscriptions.
Hulu, Netflix, this, that. You're like, whoa.
Yeah, why did I actually get rid of this original thing? So it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out. I think it's a good idea in theory. I think Xbox definitely has a particular niche group of people that maybe didn't wasn't as well represented before, and really now is finally going to have an opportunity to play a lot of really good games in the future. Definitely not now. Definitely based on the things I've seen online, and shout out to Phoenix again, what he was telling me about kind of what's on there now.
I'm sorry, you kind of cut off on when you said a name there. I don't know if Phoenix. You cut off for everyone else. Phoenix.
Okay. Yeah. So for when Phoenix was kind of explaining what games are on the Xbox Game Pass, because if you're in the preview program, if you're in a certain tier, whatchamacallit, you can actually already participate in the Game Pass process.
They have like an alpha stage going on.
Yeah, exactly.
Now. Yeah,
exactly. So it's interesting. I think it's very interesting. I mean, I think we'll leave you with just a blurb from the blog. One of the best things about Xbox Game Pass is that you can discover and download full titles directly on your Xbox. That means continuous, full fidelity gameplay without having to worry about streaming, bandwidth, or connectivity issues. In addition, all Xbox games in the catalog and related add-ons will be available to purchase at an exclusive discount for Xbox Game Pass members, so you can make the games you love part of your permanent library to play whenever you want.
I mean, who hasn't wanted to play A Kingdom for Halflings again?
Every month, new games will cycle into the subscription, with some cycling out, giving you a constantly updating library of games. Xbox Game Pass is your ticket to endless play. Two big things to take out of that paragraph. One, shots fired to PlayStation, where PlayStation Now is completely streaming, right, if I'm not mistaken. And then two, is the discounts themselves. If it's the 10% discount that we see on EA Access, I don't think it's going to be worth it.
That's what I'm expecting. I'm not expecting what I'm expecting.
Anymore. I agree with you wholeheartedly, but I think, maybe you also can't go back on. You can't do 20 and then go back to 10, right? No. It's gonna be tough. But yeah, I think the discount may not be the sell. I think it'll be nice. It'll be a nice little incentive, but I think it's the rotational aspect of this that's gonna make it enticing for people.
Sure. It's new, man. This whole idea of the way gaming is going, it's all new. Like, this is a trial, and we're gonna see where it goes. But there was a service before, though. There was another service, not GameFly, right? GameFly is one where you would like order it and have it delivered to your house. There was a streaming service other than PlayStation before. I shouldn't have even opened my mouth because I know there was, and I can't remember the name of it. But it's not like this isn't a new idea, is what I'm saying.
Oh, it came and died. I forgot what it was called, but I know what you're talking about. Right. You know why it died, and it's actually an issue that exists now.
What's that? The
idea that streaming. So this doesn't really apply to Xbox Game Pass. It actually applies to PlayStation, which I think is going to be a good segue into the PlayStation kind of part of the show.
Right.
Internet service providers are still fucking us in the US.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of places are still just getting, high speed internet. Like DSL might be the fastest thing you get in some places in the country.
Yeah.
I think we have the luxury of where we live. We live in metropolitan areas, so we have FiOS. We have fiber optics. We have cable. We have a lot of various options. But when you think about Middle America and when you think about a lot of the more remote areas in the U.S., they're still dealing with very slow internet. So the idea of bandwidth based streaming services, I think that's still a big issue to overcome, which I think is a good idea, or which is what I think that Xbox had in mind when they were developing the Game Pass, because allowing you to download it to your console at least gives you the opportunity to have it on your machine in the event that you have shitty, really slow internet, but at least it'll take you 4 days to download it, but you have it,
But
right?
you
As
have
opposed
it's there.
Exactly. Whereas PlayStation Now, it's you're streaming the service, and then if your internet's out, you're fucked. If your internet's slow, you're fucked. If whatever, you're fucked.
Sure.
And speaking of fucking
people,
so this is interesting because Sony just recently came out and said that PlayStation Now, which is I think at this point exclusively been PS3 games, will now include PS4 exclusives and PS4 titles, which I think is officially the final kind of nail in the coffin for PS4, right? I think we can easily say that the PS4 is now dead. No,
it's
seriously,
been dead to me since it came out.
Yeah, but it's dead in terms of I think the PlayStation Pro will probably be the base, and then PlayStation 5 will be the next iteration, right?
Right.
So, interesting little blurb to come from Engadget. So I wanted to make sure they got their credit for that. And I quote, "You could soon play PlayStation 4 exclusives like Uncharted 4 and The Last of Us Remastered on your PC. Sony is bringing the PS4 catalog to its streaming game service PlayStation Now," the company said today in a blog post. "The announcement is light on details, but what we know is that every game in the service, including PS4 games, will be part of a single PlayStation Now subscription." Take note, EA, a single subscription. Sony is holding a private test in the next few weeks and said it will share more information closer to launch. Last month, Sony said it's dropping PlayStation Now support on every platform except PC and PlayStation 4, so it can better focus on building a better user experience. The axe list includes PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, PlayStation TV, Sony Bravia TVs, Samsung Smart TVs, and Sony Blu-ray players. The service will stop functioning on those platforms on August 15th. So a couple interesting tidbits there.
I mean,
one?
Yeah.
Go ahead, please.
All jokes aside, right? I don't hate PlayStation. I hate PlayStation controllers. The games that come out of that end of consoles is amazing. Like the games that come out, they work hard. The developers kill it, and I don't get to play a lot of them because I just don't have a PlayStation 4 because I don't see the value in buying this for these very like far apart games that are going to come out, and those are the only ones I'm going to buy and not really have fun because I'm going to be using a controller that I don't enjoy. Now, the idea of having these games available to me on PC, that is exciting.
That's amazing.
Game changer.
That's
Absolutely.
sensational.
Mm-hmm.
Now, wow, like, and I saw some people complaining, saying that, oh, PC Master Race isn't gonna want to fucking play PlayStation 4 games on the PC. Shut up. I think one of the main things that I think everybody agrees on is no one likes to miss out on exclusives.
Right.
And as we start kind of blurring the line between exclusives for consoles, I think this is definitely a solid move. For everyone, I think it's the most pro-consumer thing you can do is to make it readily available.
Like what kind of, I don't know, what it would be like, what would it be like if like you couldn't watch certain movies because of some sort of exclusive thing, like an exclusive, like, I don't know, let's say Comcast, right? If you have Xfinity, they only get certain movies when they
only get
out.
Marvel movies.
Yeah. And then, whoever else, RCN or some other Warner, whatever it is, I don't know what other things are out there. They get Warner, DC RCN. Movies.
Yeah.
They get DC. They're fucked,
Yeah. They are fucked. Well, they're already fucked because they have
So
Time Warner, but that's besides the point.
right, right.
And it's interesting that they're axing all of these other legacy Sony PlayStation hardware in an effort to move towards PC and just the PlayStation 4 and whatever comes out after that, which I think is interesting. I wonder if the PC thing is a response to Xbox Anywhere. I mean, because technically you're still buying the game twice, I believe. No, actually, no, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. It's all tied to that one subscription service, right? It's all to your PlayStation Now. So I think it is a response to Xbox Anywhere. You buy it on the PlayStation 4, you have it on the PC.
At the same time, it's just simply a response to their fans, you know?
You think
Like,
so? You think they would have gone out of the way?
There's
I don't
plenty of
think,
PlayStation gamers who also play on PC.
but I don't think Sony's decision to do it is in order to be pro-consumer. I mean, it's a pro-consumer move, but I don't think it was because they were like, oh yeah, this be a great value. I think it's more, oh shit.
Well, I see it as, oh shit, Microsoft is making these moves that are isolating us and making us seem like putting us in a bad light.
Well, because remember the entire cross-platform thing, they were the bad guys. They were the ones who didn't want to do Rocket League cross-plat.
That wasn't that long ago either. Yeah,
exactly. So this is definitely to me looks more like a reaction, a good reaction, I guess, for us as consumers, but definitely a knee-jerk reaction to some extent to compete with Xbox.
Right. Because even after like hearing about this, I think we're still pretty far off.
Yeah, but now that the big question is this also still going to be streaming? Because if you're telling me I have to stream PlayStation games to my PC, that's going to be a fucking problem.
Man, right?
But
my Wi-Fi can't take that shit for one, and I don't want to. I don't want it to.
And you know what I don't want? To keep recording. I think we should start wrapping this up. I want to get on some Rainbow and download Mass Effect. So unless you have anything else, I think it's a good place to stop.
Nah, I think this is pretty good. I think we covered a lot of bases here. We got a lot more said than we expected.
Oh yeah, we were gonna throw a couple more topics in here, but I'm glad we didn't. I think we dove deep enough into everything. I think good show. Before we get out of here, I just wanted to throw some shout outs. Big shout out to Kev and Kurt over at From the Rafters podcast. If you're into wrestling, if you like WWE, New Japan, ROH, all this other shit, make sure to check them out. Just search From the Rafters podcast on any podcast directory, or go to rafterspodcast.com and they'll have all the links there. Also, loud, ow. And then big shout out to Drew and Creamy over at Randumb Gaming Bros. That's RANDUMB Gaming Bros. Make sure to check out their YouTube channel, subscribe, show them a lot of love. I sometimes show up on there in some random, shape or form, but definitely, small up and coming YouTube channel. So make sure to give them your support and check them out. If you want to check out our stuff, if you're new to the show, check out our website, playerversuseverything.net. We have RSS links, iTunes, Overcast, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, YouTube. I mean, the whole plethora of podcast directories.
If you don't find us, we'll find you.
No, we won't. We have no idea who you are at this point. We can't track you, but you can track us. Right. Follow us on Twitter at PvEPodcast. Brand new to the show, we've actually added a voicemail element. So if you want to leave us a voicemail, you can reach out to us at SpeakPipe, SPEAK, pipe, PIPE, .com/PvEPodcast. You'll be able to leave a message. And let us know if you actually want us to include it, if you're cool with us including it in the show. We love to actually play it back and then answer your questions as we go along. If you don't like, sharing your voice and you just want to send us a good old-fashioned email, reach out to us at askpve@gmail.com. We stream occasionally. I might stream Mass Effect, so check us out at twitch.tv/PvEPodcast. And we have the Instagram's PvE Podcast. So, I guess until next time, have a good one. Peace.
We'll see you soon. Bye.